Shall we conquer the world today, my rogue army? My name is Erin Rogoff, and I would like to welcome you all back to my booktube channel. So last year in 2019, my reading goal was to read at least 45 books. I totally surpassed that by reading 70 to 80 books. I forget which one it was, but I wanted to rate and review every single dystopian sort of sci-fi novel from last year. So, shall we begin with Life as We Knew It by Susan Beth Pfeffer. This is the first book of the Life as We Knew It series, and it's about an asteroid hitting the moon, knocking it closer to the Earth, and then it follows with a narration of life afterward, told in the point of view of teenager Miranda Evans. And I loved this book 10 years ago, and I still love it, and I actually connected with the characters in different ways then and now, and I appreciate it more than I did as a kid because I understand more. So when insomnia hit me hard a few months ago, I woke my brother up to ask him questions, and he was all, "Why the heck did you wake me up? It's only like 3 in the morning, and he didn't say heck. And when I said it was a science question, my brother was like, "Okay, what can I answer?" Because it was just so funny when it happened. Because my brother, if you know him, he is in love with paleontology and astronomy and all the sciences, and so whenever I have a scientific question for him, he's the one I go to. I am the fiction to my brother's science, and we make a great team because I'm all fantasy and he's mostly reality. So anyway, the second book that is on my list of top 6 or 7 favorite books that were dystopian is The Air by Kiera Cass. This is book 4 of the Selection series, and it's the sequel to The One, and it continues with the next generation of the Selection, and it's told in the point of view of Evelyn Shriev, Maxon and America's daughter. And reviews say that Selection series is like The Hunger Games meets The Bachelor, and I actually really have to agree, because even though I wasn't overly fond of the first 3 books, I absolutely loved The Air. Like, I could reread that again and again and not get tired of it like I got tired with the first 3 books of the Selection series. And I liked how Evelyn continued with her mother's fashion choice of jeans over skirts, and how she wanted to wear beloved tiaras in denim pants. So I thought that was so cool, because if you know me, the only thing that I wear is jeans and simple t-shirts. So that was kind of funny. And then the next book that I am reading is The One, also by Kiera Cass. This is book 3 of the Selection series, and of the Generation 1 novels of the Selection series, I liked this one the best because America found her voice, and she stayed true to herself and claimed the power that she didn't realize she had, and then she won Maxon's heart. So kudos to her, and congratulations on their happy wedding. Not that it was absolutely happy, as in, like, everyone had to, like, die and move on and whatever. Read the book, it gets complicated, but it's good. Oh my gosh. And then I also liked imagining all the dresses that America wore, and I will admit to thinking about the dresses so much that I had to reread a few pages to remember what exactly was happening in the novels. So that was actually pretty funny, because I'm like reading and then I'm just like, wait, I was focusing on the dresses. What just happened? And so I skip back on the pages and then I reread it and I'm like, oh, okay, don't focus on the dresses. Hey, look, there's another book. And then my ADHD kicks in. And then the other book that I am reading is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This is what I call an early dystopian YA novel. And I know this isn't necessarily a dystopian novel, but it's life after death cast, so I think that could count in some way. And I mean, it's an early futuristic novel that could also count. And I love all the connections in this novel because, well, I just loved Adam Silvera's notes as a bonus after ending, and all the map of connections between all the characters, so like Rufus and Mateo and all the others. And if you're into LGBTQ fiction, as much as dystopian fiction, then They Both Die at the End is definitely for you. And as for another note on this, I looked at the cover and I thought, hey, the shadow looks different. It took me a little while after drinking coffee to realize that was a reaper at the bottom of the page. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't see that. But then again, I need glasses most of the time to see. The next book that we are going to talk about is The Dead and the Gone, also by Susan Beth Pfeffer. This is book 2 of the Life as We Knew It series, and it's by far the darkest so far. Stampedes, murders, partial beheadings, breaking necks. It's just brutal with the description of the violence, and if you know me, you know that I can deal with fantasy violence. Like, if I hear about Aragorn beheading an orc, I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's awesome. But then if I hear, like, about needles in skin or just, like, the gruesome, like, reality stuff, then I get freaked out. But this book was just, like, okay, Susan, are you, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just like, wow, what were you smoking when you wrote this book? Not that that was actually all that bad, because it was a really good book, but it was just so dark that it took me a while to get used to it. And it was not my favorite novel of the series by far, but I am finishing the series. And I tried to get my brother to read the series, but he prefers science fact to science fiction. So this series is out. However, he did love reading The Meg by Steve Alden, and that was one book that I got for him for a school book report that was in high school, and he really enjoyed that. So I'm happy that he was happy. And then the next book, Elite by Kira Cass, which is book 3 of the Selection series. I thought the Selection was okay, but I really wasn't fond of the Elite because King Clarkson and Celeste mostly were just cruel people. I hated them. However, I did like Celeste's character development in book 3. That was pretty awesome. So I was actually still wondering how a father can whip his own son until he was bleeding and scarred. So that bothered me a bit more than it might have with others, and that's just, I don't even know why, but like brutal torture is not my cup of tea unless it's like The Lord of the Rings, in which case I'm all over it. And that just means, like, I like seeing the orcs suffer. Anyway, the imagery and the writing was spot on, no doubt, even if the rating for the book was more negative than positive, so I still really would recommend the series. And then the final book that I am going to rate and review for this video is one book that I might get a lot of hate for saying this, and that is Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. This is book 3 of the Hunger Games trilogy, and it was a huge hit when it came out in like 2009 or something. I was like 12 at the time, and my best friend at the time told me to read the books, and since I was going through a phase at that time where I would read books that nobody heard about, like the Life as We Knew It series. Nobody in my school heard about that, so I was reading it. And everyone in school was reading Mockingjay, and I didn't read it. So anyway, she was totally obsessed with the series, and she wanted me to read it, but since I was going through that phase, I didn't read the books until last year, and after a decade of not reading it, I thought it was actually overrated. To be perfectly honest, all opinions are valid, no opinions are right or wrong, they're just opinions, so please do not hate me for announcing my views on the Hunger Games series or Mockingjay or whatever. So even if I think that the movies were better than the books, I'm still planning to read the prequel when it comes out. And my question is, could it be better than the Hunger Games trilogy itself? Anyway, that is all for today, so if you liked this video, hit that thumbs up button to show some support, turn those notifications on, subscribe to my booktube channel to get more videos like this, and have a great day, everyone!